story begins far away from Earth, beyond the planets, beyond the stars humans know. The Milky Way, home of billions of stars, looks calm from a distance, like a shining river of light floating in the darkness. But tonight, something unusual is happening. Something that has never happened before. Something that will change the future of humanity. The year is not important. What matters is that humans have reached an age where they understand the universe better than ever. They have telescopes that can look millions of light years away. They have spacecraft that can travel faster and farther than anything before. They have technology that can detect even the smallest movement in space. And yet, even with all this progress, one truth remains unbroken. Humans are trapped inside the Milky Way. No one has ever crossed its boundaries. No one has ever seen what lies beyond the galaxy's edge. The Milky Way is like a giant cosmic cage, too large to escape, too powerful to overcome. But something strange is about to happen, something that makes scientists question everything they know. A strange signal appears in a quiet laboratory on Earth. A small team of astronomers is studying deep space data. Their computers listen to signals from far beyond the solar system, signals from dying stars, exploding galaxies, black holes, and strange cosmic objects. Most signals are familiar. Most signals follow patterns. But tonight, something different appears. At first, it looks like a simple energy spike, a short flash, a blink in the darkness, but then it comes again and again. The same shape, the same pattern, the same rhythm. It is not random. It is repeating. Dr. Alina Marek, the lead astronomer, freezes. Her eyes widen as she zooms in on the signal. The pattern rises and falls like a heartbeat. It pulses every 17 hours. It is too sharp to be natural, too precise, too perfect. She whispers to her team, this is not normal, this is something else. Her voice is calm, but inside her mind, questions explode. Is it a star, a black hole, something artificial, something alive? She cannot say anything for sure. But one thing is clear, this signal is coming from outside the Milky Way. Not from a nearby star, not from the galactic center, not from anything humans have ever seen. It is coming from a place where no human has ever been. The galaxy's edge, the border between the known universe and the unknown. The news spreads across the world within hours. Space agencies around the world receive the data. Scientists in Europe, America, China, India, and Japan all look at the same repeating pattern. All of them come to the same conclusion: this is not noise. This is not an accident. Someone or something is sending this. World reacts with shock and excitement. News channels report the discovery. Social media floods with theories. People stay awake at night wondering what this means. Is it a message, a warning, a natural cosmic event humans do not understand, or is it something more? Some call it the edge pulse. Others call it the whisper. But one scientist gives it a name that the whole world remembers: the Milky Way beacon. A meeting of minds, a global conference, is quickly organized. The world's greatest astronomers, physicists, and space engineers gather to discuss the mystery. They watch the signal repeating on giant screens, steady, repeating, calling. One scientist suggests it might be a magnetar, a strange type of neutron star known for strong radiation bursts. Another argues it could be dark matter interacting with gravity. A third whispers the possibility everyone fears to speak aloud. What if it is not natural? What if someone is trying to contact us? The room becomes silent. No one laughs. No one doubts, because the pattern is far too perfect. For the first time in human history, the possibility of receiving a message from outside the galaxy becomes real, and with that possibility comes fear and hope. A mission begins after days of debate. A decision is made. Humanity will investigate the signal. A special team is formed: scientists, engineers, astronauts, mathematicians, and deep space analysts. They will study the signal from every angle. They will try to understand how it is traveling through the darkness of intergalactic space, and they will attempt to find out who or what created it. The project is named the Beyond Initiative. Its main goal is simple to say but impossible to achieve: find a way to reach the edge of the Milky Way. No spacecraft in history has come close. No engine is powerful enough. No technology exists for such a journey. The edge of the galaxy is hundreds of thousands of years away using current technology. Even the fastest human-made object would need millions of years. But the signal is reaching humans now, traveling across unimaginable distances. How, why, and from where? These questions keep scientists awake night after night. The first clue: weeks pass. More signals arrive. Each new pulse carries more energy than the last. And then, the pattern changes. A small twist, a shift, a curve in the wave. At first, doctors think it is a glitch. But when the pattern repeats 3 times, the truth becomes clear: the signal is evolving. It is not just repeating, it is adjusting, as if responding to something, as if aware that humans are listening. Dr. Alina stares at the data for hours. She studies every spike, every dip, every rhythm. And then she notices something extraordinary. The new signal forms a shape. A curve, a bend, a strange loop. She runs the data through the computer, she compares it to physics models. She checks every law of nature she knows. Then her heart nearly stops. The shape matches something theoretical, something scientists have imagined but never proven, a wormhole curve, a shortcut through space. A tunnel that can connect two distant points instantly. She whispers to herself, is it trying to show us something? Her hands shake as she sends the discovery to the global team. The possibility is terrifying. Could the signal be coming through a wormhole? Or worse, could someone on the other side be trying to teach humans how to make one? The Milky Way, a cosmic prison. In the documentary, the narrator explains the challenge in simple words. The Milky Way is huge. It is like a giant island in the middle of a cosmic ocean. From one end to the other, light takes 100,000 years to travel. Humans, with their current technology, cannot cross even a tiny fraction of it. The galaxy's gravity traps stars. Dark matter forms a halo around it. Radiation clouds block the outer regions. The Milky Way is beautiful, but it is also a prison, and the signal comes from beyond that prison, somewhere in the darkness, somewhere humans can't reach. Not with rockets, not with nuclear engines, not even with light-speed dreams. Only one idea might work, bending space itself, and that is exactly what the signal seems to point toward. A growing mystery. As weeks turn into months, more patterns appear. Each new pulse offers a slight variation, like pieces of a puzzle. Scientists begin to wonder, could someone on the other side be trying to help humans escape their galaxy, or are they warning humanity to stay away? At the same time, people around the world begin to feel uneasy. The idea that something beyond the galaxy is reaching out creates a mix of fear and excitement. Some believe it is a sign of hope, a sign that humanity is not alone. Others fear it is a sign of danger. Religious groups call it a message from the heavens. Scientists call it a discovery of the century. Governments call it a national security risk. But no matter what people believe, one truth becomes clear. Humanity has never faced a mystery this big. The countdown to a new age. In a final scene, the camera zooms out from Earth into space. The planets shrink. The sun becomes a dot. The Milky Way stretches across the screen like a glowing spiral, and then the signal pulses again, stronger, clearer, like a heartbeat in the darkness. The narrator ends part one with a powerful line. If humans want to discover who is calling from beyond the galaxy, they must first learn how to leave it, and no one knows how. Yet, the suspense grows, the mystery deepens, and the journey to escape the Milky Way begins. The strange signal continued to pulse across the sky, and with each passing week it grew stronger, clearer, and even more mysterious. But before humanity could understand it, they had to understand something far more important: their own prison, the Milky Way Galaxy. The narrator begins this part with a quiet, calm tone. The camera zooms out from Earth until the planet becomes a tiny blue dot in the darkness. Then the Milky Way slowly appears, rotating like a magnificent glowing wheel. It looks beautiful, but beauty can hide danger. And this galaxy, for all its light and color, has walls so strong that even human imagination struggles to break them. The galaxy, a giant island in space to humans living on Earth, the universe feels open and endless. But the Milky Way is actually like a huge island floating in a cosmic ocean. The narrator explains this in simple words. Imagine an island so big that even traveling at the speed of light, it would take 100,000 years to cross it. That island is the Milky Way. It holds more than 200 billion stars. Among them is the sun, just one small star in a sea of light. And around the sun spins Earth, the lonely world where humans look up and dream about traveling to the stars. But dreams cannot break the laws of physics. The narrator continues, humans have sent probes across the solar system. They have studied comets, moons, and giant planets. But when they look beyond the solar system, they face a challenge larger than anything they have ever imagined. A challenge so big, it makes the mysterious signal even more frightening. Why humans cannot escape the Milky Way. The scientists working on the Beyond Initiative gather in front of a large digital screen showing the galaxy's structure. Dr. Elena stands among them as the computer displays bright lines representing gravity and dark lines representing radiation zones. The narrator explains the reality. Humans cannot leave the Milky Way because the galaxy does not want them to. Not in a living sense, not in a conscious sense, but in a physical, gravitational sense. 1. The Milky Way's gravity trap. The galaxy's gravity is incredibly strong. Gravity holds billions of stars together, pulls dust into spiral arms, and keeps the galaxy spinning like a wheel of fire. To escape that gravity, a spacecraft would need more energy than all the power on Earth combined, multiplied thousands of times. A scientist says, it is like trying to jump off a planet the size of 1,000 Earths. Even the fastest spacecraft humans have made, Voyager 1, would need billions of years to escape the gravitational pull completely. Humans are fast, but the galaxy is faster, too. Dark matter halo around the Milky Way lies a mysterious invisible shell called the dark matter halo. Scientists cannot see it, but they know it is there because its gravity affects the stars. Dark matter makes the galaxy heavier, denser, and much harder to escape. It forms an invisible barrier, a silent wall with no door. To pass through that wall, humans would need a level of energy beyond imagination. 3. Deadly radiation zones near the galaxy's edge float dangerous clouds filled with cosmic rays, gamma radiation, and deadly particles. These clouds would destroy a spacecraft in seconds. Humans cannot cross them. Not now. Not with their current technology. The energy problem inside the conference room. A physics expert stands up and begins speaking. To leave the galaxy, he says, a spacecraft would need to reach 1% of the speed of light, but even then it would take tens of thousands of years. A younger scientist interrupts. 1%, that is impossible. We have not even reached 1/10 of that speed. Everyone in the room knows he is right. Human engines rely on chemical fuel or nuclear reactions, but the energy needed to cross the galaxy is far beyond what any rocket can hold. It is like asking a car to drive across the ocean without stopping or refueling. A hopeless journey. The narrator's voice echoes gently. The Milky Way is not just big, it is impossible, and yet, the signal from outside the galaxy is real. It means something out there has already done what humans cannot. This thought shakes the scientific world. If the signal is not natural, then someone or something out there has already escaped their galaxy. How? Why? And have they now set their eyes on humans? Searching for a weak spot, weeks turn into months as scientists search for any possible weak point in the galaxy's structure, some region where the gravity might be lower or the dark matter less dense. They look at the galactic center, too dangerous, full of black holes. They look at the spiral arms, too chaotic stars too close. They look at the edges, too hostile, too much radiation. Every route is blocked, every direction leads to death. But then Dr. Alina notices something strange in the data, a small dip, a tiny curve, a faint line of energy near the outer rim. She calls it the thin place. It is not a hole, not a tunnel, not an exit, but it is weaker than the rest of the galaxy. If a weak spot exists, maybe a shortcut exists too. The wormhole theory returns. Alina cannot stop thinking about the signal. The strange curve in its waveform looks exactly like the theoretical shape of a wormhole, something physicists have dreamed of for decades. If wormholes exist, they could connect two far points instantly. No traveling through the galaxy, no radiation, no time delay, just a sudden jump from one place to another. The narrator explains simply, a wormhole bends space. Instead of moving through space, space moves around you. But wormholes are only theories. No one has ever seen one. Yet the shape in the signal looks too perfect, too clean. One scientist whispers, maybe the signal is not just calling us, maybe it is guiding us. Another adds, maybe someone is giving us instructions. The room becomes silent as the idea sinks in. Could the signal be teaching humans how to escape the galaxy? Or luring them? Dangerous decision. The Beyond Initiative team debates for hours. Some believe the signal is friendly. Others believe it is a trap. But one thing is clear, humanity cannot ignore it. The more they study the Milky Way, the more they realize the truth. Humans will never leave the galaxy with normal technology. They need something new, something impossible, something that breaks the laws of physics. And the signal might be the key. Governments around the world gather for a secret meeting. After long arguments, they approve a new mission, Project Horizon. A mission not to leave the galaxy yet, but to understand the signal. They build new telescopes, new deep space sensors, new energy detectors that can read even the faintest vibration in space. The world watches, the world waits. The galaxy fights back. The more scientists study the Milky Way, the more dangers they discover. Dark energy storms, massive black hole clusters, shockwaves from ancient supernova explosions sleeping at the galaxy's edge. It becomes clear that the path out of the galaxy is filled with chaos and destruction. The narrator says softly, for humans, the Milky Way is not just a home, it is a shield. Beyond the shield lie terrors humans cannot imagine. But the signal keeps calling, like a voice in the dark, like a lighthouse on a stormy night, like something or someone waiting. A new discovery one evening. When most scientists have gone home, Alina sits in the control room alone studying the latest signal. Something seems different, a new twist, a new ripple. She zooms in, her heart begins to race. This ripple is not random, it forms a shape, a symbol, a pattern. She compares the shape to old physics files, then to new mathematical models, then to wormhole equations. Her jaw slowly drops open. The new shape is not a wormhole this time. It is something worse, something much more dangerous. A map. A map of a path out of the galaxy, a path through deadly zones that should be impossible to cross, a path that no human technology can survive. But the map is clear and incredibly detailed. as if the sender knows the galaxy very well, too well, better than humans. Alina feels a chill run through her body. Why would someone outside the galaxy know the Milky Way's weaknesses? Why would they send this map? And most of all, what waits at the end of the path? She stares at the glowing symbol on her screen, her hands shaking. Then suddenly the signal pulses again, not gently, not rhythmically, but violently, like a warning or a countdown. The lights flicker. The sensors spike. The computers freeze. And the last line of the signal prints across the screen in bright red energy. The blackout in the control room lasted only a few seconds, but for Dr. Alina, it felt like an eternity. When the screens flickered back to life, the message was gone, deleted as if it had never appeared. Only the afterimage remained in her mind. Do not come alone. She sat frozen, staring at the empty screen, trying to understand what she had just seen. Was the message real? Was it a glitch? Or was it something greater, something intelligent reaching across the void? News of the blackout spread quickly through the Beyond Initiative Command Center. Engineers checked power systems. Cybersecurity teams scanned for hacks. Physicists tested equipment for overloads. Everything came back normal, too normal. The blackout was not an accident. It was a sign. And the meaning behind the sign would soon lead humanity toward the most dangerous idea in physics, the wormhole. Star, a universe full of shortcuts, the documentary camera slowly zooms out from Earth into deep space, showing stars stretching into long, glowing lines. The narrator explains gently in simple words, space looks empty, but it is full of secrets. One of those secrets may be a shortcut, a tunnel called a wormhole. A wormhole, according to theory, is like folding a piece of paper. Instead of going across the page, you bend it so two distant points touch. A wormhole would connect those points instantly. The narrator continues, if humans could create a wormhole, they could escape the Milky Way. They would not need to travel across the galaxy. The galaxy would fold around them. But there is a problem. Humans have never seen a wormhole, never created one, never proved one exists. Wormholes remain mathematical dreams, beautiful shapes drawn in physics books, nothing more. Until now. Star, the signal's hidden pattern after the blackout, the team studies every moment of the strange pulse. Deep inside the signal, Alina finds something she hadn't noticed before, a repeating spiral shape. She prints it out on a large sheet. The team gathers around it. The spiral curves inward and outward like a twisting tunnel. A physicist whispers, it looks like an Einstein-Rosen bridge. Another name for a wormhole. Alina shakes her head. Not just any wormhole, this one is stable. The room falls silent. Stable wormholes are rare in theory. Most wormholes collapse in less than a second. But the signal's shape suggests the sender knows how to keep one open long enough for travel. A scientist says, if this is real, the signal is not just calling us. It is teaching us something humanity could never discover alone. The narrator's voice adds a chill. Someone outside the galaxy may already know the technology humans fear to imagine. Star, a meeting in the shadows. Governments of the world gather in a secret underground hall, sealed from the public eye. Scientists present the wormhole interpretation. Military leaders worry. Political leaders argue. Some see it as a gift. Others see it as a trap. But all agree on one fact: if the signal contains wormhole instructions, no nation can handle it alone. A leader says this technology could destroy the planet if misused. Another answers, or save it. In the middle of the debate, Alina shows the spiral printout. She explains that the pattern repeats every time the signal peaks. It is not random, it is intentional. It's a blueprint, she says. A blueprint for bending space. The room becomes tense. Someone far away, someone powerful, might be offering humans the key to escape the Milky Way, or the key to open a door that should never be opened. Star scientists begin the impossible deep inside a mountain laboratory. The Beyond Initiative team begins testing the wormhole theory in small experiments. They use lasers, plasma tunnels, magnetic rings, and miniature particle accelerators. They try to copy the spiral pattern in space energy. Day after day, nothing works. But then on a late evening shift, something extraordinary happens. A small magnetic coil glows bright blue. Space in the middle of the coil begins to warble like heat waves above a desert road. A young engineer gasps. Space is bending. The glow grows brighter, twisting into a tiny swirling hole, no bigger than a grain of sand. It spins for a fraction of a second before exploding into a flash of white light. The team jumps back in shock. Alina stares wide-eyed. This is not possible, but it had happened. For the first time in human history, space had bent. Even for a moment, even for a tiny fragment of time, humanity had created a miniature wormhole. The narrator's voice rises, and with that spark, humanity stepped closer to unlocking a door that no one knew existed. Star, a warning hidden in the wormhole. Days later, the team runs more experiments. Each time the wormhole forms for a tiny moment before collapsing, but with each experiment the collapse becomes stronger. Small explosions, electric surges, Energy spikes measured across the city. Alina grows worried. The wormholes are unstable. Someone using this technology without the signal's full instructions could destroy everything. She starts analyzing the signal again, line by line, looking for missing information, and that is when she sees it. A faint echo behind the main spiral pattern. At first it looks like noise, but when she amplifies it and slows it down, the noise forms another shape. A broken spiral, a collapsing tunnel, not a path forward but a warning. Alina whispers, "It's showing us what happens if we fail." The broken spiral is chaotic, violent. It ends in an explosion of energy strong enough to wipe out an entire region of space. She realizes the truth. If humans attempt to build a full wormhole without understanding the complete instructions, it could tear space apart. The narrator speaks calmly. The technology that can save humanity can also destroy it, and whoever sent the signal knows this very well. The signal suddenly changes for 3 months. The signal repeats the same spiral shape. Scientists become almost comfortable with it. But one morning the world wakes up to something unexpected. The signal has changed. It no longer shows the spiral, no longer pulses gently, no longer follows any known pattern. Instead, it forms a new shape, a circle, perfect and sharp. Deep inside the circle are glowing lines that look like orbit paths. Alina stares at it for hours. It looks like a destination. The team runs simulations. The circle's coordinates point not to a place outside the galaxy, but to a place inside the Milky Way, a place near the rim, a place hidden from telescopes, a place that suddenly seems important. One scientist says maybe that's where the wormhole begins. Another adds, or where the sender wants us to go. A third whispers, or where something is waiting. The unseen object using new deep space sensors, the team searches the coordinates of the circle. For weeks, nothing appears, the area looks empty. Then one night an object appears on the screen, a dark shape, huge, silent, sitting near the galaxy's edge. It's not a star, not a planet, not an asteroid, not a black hole. It is something else entirely. The sensors struggle to read it. Light bends strangely around it. Energy waves pulse from its center. The narrator's voice becomes serious. It looks like a structure large enough to hold a moon. But who built it? And why is it waiting so close to the Milky Way? Alina zooms into the sensor feed. She sees lines, straight lines. Nature does not make straight lines. Only intelligence does. She whispers to herself, this is artificial. Humanity has just discovered the first artificial structure outside the solar system, and it is massive. The final pulse. Just as the team begins to study the object, the signal pulses again, this time louder than ever before. The screens glow white. The sensors shake violently. The building rumbles. Everyone covers their ears. The pulse contains something new, something terrifying, something no one expected. A short burst of sound. A single sharp tone, not noise, not static, a voice. A voice from outside the galaxy, speaking in a language no human has ever heard. The voice says one word, just one, but it freezes every person in the room. A word repeated twice, slow and heavy. Like a warning from the darkness, don't open. The signal shuts down instantly. The sensors go silent. The artificial structure at the galaxy's edge stops emitting energy. Silence fills the room. Alina stares at the blank screen, her heart pounding. If they are not supposed to open the wormhole, then why send the map, why send the spiral, why send the instructions, why send anything, unless there is something else out there, something the signal is afraid of, something the wormhole could awaken. The camera fades to black as the narrator whispers, humanity now knows how to open a wormhole, but not what waits on the other side. It was the first time the mysterious source had spoken. The meaning was clear, simple, and terrifying, but the problem was even bigger. To understand why they should not open the wormhole, humans first had to learn how to open it. The warning created fear, yes, but it also created curiosity. And curiosity, as history has always shown, is the fuel that drives humanity forward, sometimes into success, sometimes into disaster. The world divides. The moment the voice recording reached world leaders, chaos followed. Some nations demanded an immediate shutdown of all wormhole experiments. Others argued that the warning might be misunderstood, mistranslated, or even fake. Scientists knew one thing for certain. The signal itself encouraged wormhole study in the beginning. The spiral shape, the hidden instruction, the map, everything pointed toward wormhole creation. Then suddenly a warning. Why change the message? Why send guidance at first and fear at the end? The narrator explains simply, sometimes the safest path is to stay still. Sometimes the only way to learn is to move forward. The world split into two groups, the cautious and the brave. Alina belonged to neither. She belonged to the third group, the curious. The mountain base upgrades Project Horizon moved into its most dangerous phase yet. A new facility was built beneath the mountain, deeper, larger, and more secure. The underground chamber was shaped like a huge metal sphere, its curved walls filled with superconducting coils and energy rings. The narrator explains, to bend space, humans need to control extreme energy, energy strong enough to crush planets or tear space apart. Inside the sphere, the team installed the largest magnetic ring ever built. It glowed faint blue when powered, like a rising sun trapped inside metal. Humans could not create a big wormhole, not yet, but they could attempt to create one large enough to send a probe. A small robotic explorer, unmanned, expendable. This was the safest way to test the theory. After the first activation, the chamber lights dimmed as the experiment began. Alina stood at the main console, her face tense. Her team wore protective suits, watching screens that showed temperature, radiation, and magnetic stability. Begin energy flow, Alina instructed. The magnetic ring brightened, the sensors buzzed, the ground trembled. Inside the ring, space started to shimmer, heat waves, light twists, small bends that looked like ripples in water. "It's working," whispered a young engineer. The ripple grew stronger. A dark spot formed in the center like a pit in reality. It stretched, it twisted, it pulled inward. A tiny wormhole appeared, but it was unstable. It shook violently like a wounded animal. "Stabilize the field," Alina shouted. The ring overloaded. Electric arcs flashed across the chamber. The wormhole collapsed with a sudden blast of light. The chamber shook but held steady. They had failed again. But that failure meant progress. Humans had opened the door for half a second closer to the unknown. Star Alina's secret fear. Late that night, Alina sat alone in her lab. A small recorder played the voice again, "Don't open." She stared at the wormhole blueprints pinned to her wall, the spiral pattern, the map, the instructions. Why would something guide humanity forward only to stop them later? She took a deep breath. What if the warning is not about the wormhole, she whispered. Her mind raced. What if the warning is about what comes through it? A chill crawled down her spine. What if the wormhole was not just a path out of the galaxy? What if it was also a door into the galaxy? A door for something else, something powerful, something dangerous. The narrator speaks softly. Curiosity is a bright flame, but even the brightest flame can burn. Start the second experiment, the probe. 1 week later, the team tried again, this time with new data from the signal and better stability systems. They rolled in a small metallic probe fitted with cameras, sensors, and transmitters. It was the size of a suitcase but built to withstand extreme forces. Alina stood before her team. "This is our first step into bending space," she said. "If anything goes wrong, we shut it down immediately. Safety first." But everyone in the room knew the truth. Safety was impossible, not when dealing with the fabric of the universe. Star energy surge, power at 30%, an engineer called out. The ring hummed, lights flickered, space began to tremble. 40%, the center of the ring grew darker. 50%, a tunnel of swirling light began to form. "Stabilizing field," Alina said. The wormhole opened again, but bigger this time, about the size of a basketball. It glowed bright blue, spinning slowly. Then suddenly the energy spiked. A blinding flash burst from the ring. The wormhole bulged outward as if something on the other side was pushing. "Reduce output," Alina shouted. "It's not responding." The wormhole roared with sound, a deep echo from beyond space. And for the first time, something appeared inside the tunnel. Not an object, not a creature, not a signal, a shadow, a massive shadow. A dark shape moving inside the tunnel, distant but unmistakable. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at the screen. Something was on the other side of the wormhole, something huge, something aware. "Close it," Alina screamed. The ring shut down. The wormhole collapsed instantly. The shadow vanished. The chamber went dark, but something lingered in the air, a strange vibration like a whisper without sound. Star, the world reacts when the footage leaked to government leaders. Panic spread. What was that shadow? Was it alive? Was it waiting? Should we destroy the wormhole project, or should we try again? The world became more divided than ever. The narrator explains, humanity was no longer afraid of the unknown. Humanity was afraid of the known, that something was watching them. Alina replayed the footage repeatedly. Each time the shadow seemed to move differently, slower, faster, closer. It was impossible to study, impossible to identify. But one thing was certain, it was not from the Milky Way. Star, a hidden layer in the signal. Determined to find answers, Alina studied the original signal again. She dug deeper into its frequencies, analyzing layers the team had ignored before. Buried under the spiral pattern, under the map, under the warning, she found another hidden message. A repeating pulse, soft, faint, easy to miss. She filtered it, amplified it, stretched it. The pulse formed new shapes, not spirals, not circles, symbols that looked like coordinates that pointed to. She froze. The coordinates pointed directly to the massive artificial structure at the galaxy's edge, the one they had discovered earlier. The narrator's voice deepens. Something inside that structure wanted humans to open the wormhole. Something else told them not to. Two voices, two messages, two sides. Which one was real? Which one was lying? Alina didn't know. But the new coordinates meant one thing: the structure is trying to communicate again. The final decision: the governments of the world held their most difficult meeting yet. Some argued to shut down the project forever. Others argued to send a mission to the artificial structure. Some wanted peace. Some wanted war. Some wanted understanding. In the end, the decision was made: humanity would send a spacecraft to the structure, not through a wormhole, not by bending space, but by traditional engines, slow, dangerous, but safe from unknown forces. Alina would lead the mission from Earth, communicating with the crew. A date was chosen. The rocket was built. The world watched. The narrator explains, for the first time, humans were not trying to escape the galaxy. They were trying to understand it. The cliffhanger: the night before launch, Alina walked alone into the mountain lab one last time. She stood before the silent wormhole ring. Cold, dark, still, she touched the metal surface gently. "I hope we're doing the right thing," she whispered. Suddenly, every monitor in the room flickered on by itself. Static, distortion, noise. Then the signal appeared stronger than ever, and a new voice spoke. But this voice was different, deeper, older, louder. It said only 3 words: "They are coming." The room shook, alarms blared, lights exploded, and the entire facility went dark. The alarm sirens echoed through the underground facility long after the mysterious voice vanished. 3 words repeated in the minds of every scientist and engineer inside the mountain: "They are coming." Fear spread like a cold wind. Who were they? Where were they coming from? And how did they know humans were listening? The warning was clear, but the meaning was hidden behind a wall of mystery. And yet, despite the fear, Project Horizon could not stop. The world had invested too much. The truth was too close. And the artificial structure at the galaxy's edge still waited silently, like a dark moon watching the Milky Way from the outside. The countdown had already begun. The dawn of the mission, the narrator speaks calmly as the camera drifts over the rocket standing tall on its launch pad. It gleams silver under the morning sky. This is humanity's first ship designed to reach the very edge of the galaxy. The spacecraft is named Odyssey 1. It is built not for speed but for endurance. With advanced nuclear engines, radiation shields, dark matter sensors, and a long-range communication array, Odyssey 1 was humanity's bravest attempt to touch the unknown. Inside the control center, Dr. Alina stands before the launch window. Her face shows a strange mix of fear, excitement, and responsibility. The crew of Odyssey 1 consists of Captain Aiden Ross, a calm leader with nerves like steel; Dr. Lyra Chen, an astrophysicist and wormhole specialist; Mateo Ruiz, an engineer known for fixing impossible problems; Arya Malik, a communication and signal expert. These 4 people carry the hopes of an entire species. Their mission: reach the artificial structure, discover the truth behind the signal, and find out who or what is coming. Star launch day, Odyssey 1, prepare for ignition, Alina announces. The engines ignite with thunder. Flames roar beneath the rocket as it rises slowly into the sky, pushing through clouds and entering the silent darkness of space. Billions watch the launch live. Some pray, some fear war, some fear discovery, but all know humanity is crossing a line that cannot be uncrossed. The rocket becomes a small dot, then a star, then it disappears into the cosmic sea. Alina whispers to herself, "Please come back." But deep down, she knows some journeys never allow return. Crossing the solar system, days turn into weeks as Odyssey 1 travels past the planets. Mars passes beneath them like a rusty desert. Jupiter appears like a giant swirling storm. Saturn's rings glow like golden hoops floating in space. Beyond them lies darkness, vast and endless. The narrator explains, "Leaving the solar system is easy. Leaving the galaxy is not." The crew monitors the artificial structure's coordinates every hour. It is still there, silent, cold, waiting, but something strange begins happening. The signal returns, not the old signal, not the warning, a new pulse, slow, soft, almost like breathing. Arya listens to the pulse every day. She records it, studies it, compares it. "It's not a message," she says, "it's a heartbeat. The structure is alive, or something inside it is." Dark space after 3 months. Odyssey 1 reaches the galaxy's rim where stars become thin and dark matter thickens like fog. The Milky Way behind them looks breathtaking, a glowing spiral stretching across their windows. But ahead lies blackness so deep that even the ship's powerful lights cannot cut through it. Captain Aiden stares at the dark horizon. "It feels like the edge of a dream," he says. Dr. Lyra replies quietly, "Or the beginning of a nightmare." The narrator describes the region. At the galaxy's edge, gravity twists, time bends, light breaks. This is the border between safety and the void. Sensors begin detecting strange waves, unnatural vibrations. Space feels wrong, like a stretched rubber sheet. Then suddenly a shockwave hits the ship. Odyssey 1 shakes violently. "What was that?" Aiden yells. Arya checks the sensors. Her face turns pale. The wave came from behind us, from inside the Milky Way, from somewhere near Earth. Something massive has moved, something powerful, something coming closer. Star the artificial structure revealed after 6 long months in deep space. Odyssey 1 finally reaches the structure. The ship slows down. Everyone gathers at the main window. What they see leaves them speechless. The structure is enormous, larger than any moon. Its surface is smooth, black, and reflective like obsidian. Sharp lines run across it in perfect symmetry. It is not natural, not random, not created by time or nature. It is built with intelligence far beyond humanity. Dr. Lyra whispers, it has no doors, no engines, no openings. Mateo adds, it's like an egg. The narrator's voice deepens, and some eggs do not want to be opened. The ship slowly circles the structure. Strange symbols glow faintly along its surface, symbols identical to the ones hidden in the signal. This is the source, the beginning, the sender, or at least one of them. Star the first contact as Odyssey 1 scans the structure. Something unexpected happens. A single light appears on its surface, a dot, then 2, then 3. The lights connect, forming a perfect triangle. Captain Aiden frowns. Is it scanning us? Before anyone can answer, a beam of pale white light shoots out from the triangle and touches the ship gently like a finger tapping glass. Arya screams, we're being pulled in. Energy grips the ship. Instruments fail. Engines shut down. The structure opens for the first time. Not a door but a tear. Reality bends, light curves, space turns liquid. Aiden shouts, brace for impact. But there is no impact. The ship slides through the tear like moving through water. Inside the structure is a hollow chamber larger than cities. Lights flicker on the walls. Symbols shift like living code. Soundless whispers echo across the chamber. Mateo shivers. This place, it's alive. Then the chamber lights form a shape. A spiral, the wormhole spiral, the same one from the signal. Star the message of the structure. Suddenly, a voice echoes inside the chamber. Not through speakers, not through radios, directly into their minds. A calm voice. Ancient, tired. You were not supposed to build the door. The crew freezes. The voice continues. The signal was not for you. Aiden whispers, then who was it for? Silence. And the voice answers, the ones who follow you. A cold chill fills the air. Dr. Lyra steps forward. Who is coming? Who are they? The chamber lights flicker. The voice grows dark. The hunters. Arya trembles. Hunters of what? Everything, everyone, every galaxy. The voice speaks in a slow, heavy tone. You have been seen. The chamber shakes. Dust falls. The tier behind them begins to close. The structure is shutting down, or worse, trying to hide them. The narrator whispers. For the first time, humanity learns the truth. Something ancient moves between galaxies, hunting civilizations that use wormhole technology. Humanity has revealed itself, and now the hunters have turned their gaze on the Milky Way. Star the final cliffhanger. The chamber lights blink red. A new wormhole opens in front of Odyssey 1, violent, unstable, hostile. The voice screams inside their minds. Run. Before the crew can react, the wormhole expands and pulls the ship forward like a cosmic vacuum. Aiden shouts, everyone hold on. Elena, watching from Earth, sees Odyssey 1 signal distort on her screen. Static, noise, then one final image, a gigantic shadow inside the wormhole, much larger than the one in the earlier experiment, much clearer, much closer. A shape with long limbs, glowing eyes, and a body stretching into infinity. Then the screen turns black. The last line of data reads, unknown entity detected. Elena stares in horror. The hunters are real, and they are no longer coming.